So there's a debate on a programme called Politics Live with Barry Gardiner, Labour MP, and Stephen Barley from the Green Party MP, versus Leila Cunningham from Reform Party. And it's a interesting debate. It lays everything bare for me, in my mind. I'm very clear on it now. And it's very clear what's going on. Barry Gardiner very intelligently points to Leila Cunningham and the Reform Party and says it's always the immigrant that you're blaming. You're always blaming immigration. There's always somebody poorer who's coming and stealing your jobs. Why is you never point to the fact that the government are having to come in and subsidise wages? Why the government having to come in and subsidise the wages for ultra-rich companies that are paying their staffs too little? What about them? And there's this back and forth. But ultimately, what we've got is Leila Cunningham stating that it's the companies, the wealth creators, that create the wealth that is then redistributed within society. And without the wealth creators, there is no wealth to redistribute. That's the logic. Okay, that's the logic. And if you punish the wealth creators, then there will be no wealth. So we need to bow and kneel and be the slaves of wealth creators to allow them to do whatever they need to do in terms of wages to impoverish people. Because if the wealth creators, if these billionaire companies are dealing in tax avoidance and are paying their staff so low anyway that the government are having to come in and subsidise, then where's the wealth creation? When you're having to park off when they're using tax avoidance schemes to hide their money and they're paying their staff little so that staff don't have enough money to then create wealth. If you pay your staff enough, they will then be wealth creators. Your staff will be wealth creators because they'll have the money to redistribute the wealth of the company coming in. And so you can't bow to companies who are behaving badly. That doesn't make any sense. And Reform rather blame immigrants for stagnating wages than the billionaire companies who are behaving badly. So you are blaming. And then Leila Cunningham saying to Barry Gardiner that we can't play the politics of blame because he's saying that he's pointing to the fact that Reform are blaming immigration. And she's saying, oh, you can't have blame politics. That's what they are. They're blaming immigrants. And so the logic in my mind with this goes to the fact of if you're going to constantly bow and cower in front of these companies, that's teaching them and training them that they can behave badly. They know that they're not going to be disciplined for the bad behaviour. It's quite simple. If you're going to bow and have that policy that you are going to cower to them because they're the wealth creators, they can behave badly, pay their staff very little, hide their money off in tax avoidance schemes, and know that they're going to be protected by the far right and people who they're donating to who are going to protect that wealth. It's not redistributed. That is a myth. It's not something that is sustainable at all. And I use this analogy. Why would you want to have a partner in your life that is with you not because they truly love you, but because you afford them a particular life that they enjoy? And you keep on feeding them with Chanel or with Gucci or with whatever diamonds or with whatever car or with whatever holidays. You keep on feeding them. You keep on feeding them. You're teaching them that you can't live without them. We need them. They are the source of happiness. They're the source of love in my life. They are the lifeblood by which I survive. Yes, because the wealth creators are the lifeblood by which we survive. So we need to cower to them. In a relationship, that would be, you're the lifeblood by which I survive. That's the human psychology of somebody that clings on to somebody in a relationship. And in that behaviour, you're teaching them that they can treat you badly because they know that you need them so badly. You're teaching them that they can mistreat you. We can't cower to bad behaviour because within the politics of wealth creation, if we set our minds to saying, listen, we're going to tax the rich and we're going to liaise internationally to make sure that we're backed up, or to try to reach out to our political allies to say, listen, this is not working, this is immoral, and we had the morality in our minds that we said to ourselves, listen, we can't afford to keep on having this misbehavior by the wealth creators. They're out of line, they're hoarding wealth, and the economy is suffering for it, then we might get somewhere. They don't want to even look at the option of trying to discipline the super rich, because they're being funded directly for them. It's not about wanting that wealth to spread through the rest of society. That's not your aim. Your aim is your personal finances, the pocket money that you're being given by the super rich. That's what you're defending. Stop pretending that it's about the working classes and that you care about the humanity of the nation. That is not it. That's not why you defend the ultra rich. They need to be disciplined. You cannot cower to bullies. And these multi-billion companies are bullying us and impoverishing the globe in a neoliberal farce.